We're taking a look at Samantha's swing right now. And really, Samantha's made a lot of progress here in a pretty short period of time. Just a simple approach things that I want to look at with her swing right now. In the batting stance, it would help us to have a point where the knob of the bat would sit somewhere in this direction. What she's doing right now that's going to be hard to do is get the back elbow on top of the knob of the bat, as you can see that Bustos does here as she prepares to hit the softball. So as she gets ready to hit, the knob starts on top of the elbow, and then the elbow will lift as she drives the knob underneath the elbow, and then obviously we're going to change that property as we begin rotating and deciding what we want to do. What Samantha's doing right now is she's beginning in a position where it's going to be hard to get the knob of the bat underneath the elbow. So Samantha's going to attack from a position where the elbow is already closer to where it should be at connection than the knob of the bat and the top hand are. Therefore, she's going to have trouble getting the elbow, the hand, the barrel, the back hip, everything connected during rotation and be really strong. We're also going to look at some things that she can do to aid in this. So the first adjustment I'd like to see Samantha make is really simple. We just want to make sure in the batting stance we start in a position that we can get the knob underneath the elbow at toe touch, like you'll see Bustos do right here. That's a real important thing for me, because otherwise we can't let that back elbow drop in, pick up the top hand, pick up the back hip all at the same time. So just dropping her hands a little bit during her batting stance is going to help on that. The other thing I want to look at is that when Samantha's front foot begins to come up, you'll immediately see the weight shift to the outside of her back leg, which isn't going to allow this hip flexor or the knee extensor that's going to run somewhere in here. What we're trying to do is first allow, like you'll see Bustos do here, during the negative move, you'll see the weight is still kind of kept to the inside of the back leg. So imagine if we've got a muscle that attaches, and we've got one of these in each leg. The muscle that's a knee extensor that attaches at the knee, runs through the quad into the hip. What Bustos does a great job here is that when she strides, she will first extend the back knee here and start creating this angle. As she begins to swing, you'll notice this angle gets larger and larger. So the more that angle is created from the ground up, the more that we're going to stretch out this knee extensor, and it's going to aid in finally starting rotation of the back hip in this direction once we achieve that full extension as we drive from the inside of the back leg. So Samantha immediately going to the back of the leg is going to prevent her from getting a real clean axis set on the front leg and real timely rotation, which is what I see in the swing clips, is that rotation just doesn't seem to happen with ease and on time. Typically rotation's late, and we catch the barrel behind the hands at contact a lot from the swing clips that I've got. So let's talk about a couple things that she can do to really take care of these issues in her swing. The first thing I want to look at in the swing is what her top hand does. If we lower the top hand and let the knob sit somewhere closer to where the back elbow currently is, then it's going to help us do a couple of things. If you look at Bustos' top hand right here, what I want to show you is the angle and what she does with her the joint on her top hand, where she really cocks the wrist right there. What she's doing is she's making certain that when the back elbow drops, since that wrist is cocked right there, the wrist, the elbow, and the bat are all going to work together. What Samantha's having a hard time doing right now is having her bat respond to the elbow dropping. When Bustos' elbow moves down, you immediately see the bat respond because the top hand's cocked, that wrist joint is really strong, and it's able to take that force right there. Because Samantha doesn't really have that wrist set to withstand that, the elbow drops in and the bat doesn't respond, taking a quick path back into the zone. So just kind of taking the top hand and just making it a little bit more stable by cocking the top hand, almost like you're trying to take the back of your hand and touch your forearm when we hold the bat. And especially as we start to make our first move towards the ball, that'll really help out a lot right now. Obviously starting with the knob a little bit lower, and if we can get the back elbow higher than the wrist as we get ready to swing. That's also going to help out what we're doing right now. The next thing I want to look at is just going to be exactly what she does as rotation begins. So I'll go to toe touch with both hitters right here. If you'll notice, because Samantha took that weight to the outside of the leg, we're still having an issue of keeping this knee that should be moving inside right here and sideways. Because that knee was outside, the weight was on the outside, what you'll see Samantha do here is going, if we look at the back foot, you'll see her going to, as soon as the left heel drops, the back heel comes off the ground completely and the back knee starts to spin. If you look at what Bustos does with their back leg, as the knee becomes in, the pressure starts to mount up on the back knee. You can see that she's rolled to the inside of the back foot a little bit. And then what she's going to try to do now is create a good ground angle as that heel drives in. As long as the heel is pushing, it helps extend the knee, which helps extend the hip right here. So this angle right here that we're showing from the ground up is very powerful because the heel's still intact right here. The heel will roll up during rotation, but it's the idea that we're going to push off of our back heel, which is going to push our back knee in, which is going to extend the hip, which is going to make the hip contract during the swing. Really, all of Samantha's habits that we need to work on are leading up into this point right here. She has good instincts on what to do on extension and follow through once she enables herself just to get to a better position to hit from with timing. So I really think making sure that that knob starts a little bit lower, we get the wrist cocked. Then as we stride, let's try to work the elbow on top of that wrist joint. And as we do that, as we begin to stride, if you watch Bustos, notice the weight goes to the inside of the back leg. Then all we're trying to do is get that hip extended so it can rotate with a contraction or a reflex. And that involves pushing off the back heel, keeping the back knee square, and then going into rotation. Samantha will get there on time if we can keep the weight from the outside of the back leg, and if we can get that top hand in a position to really brace itself during the swing. Because otherwise, the swing, she's making some good athletic moves right here, and you can tell she's gotten a lot stronger too, because she's making athletic moves to get back into the zone right here. It's actually hard for her to do right now because she just has to be a really good athlete to go from here through the zone. So it shows me a lot of athletic ability right there. So really just simplifying the start of the swing and doing things in right order should go a long way forward, but it looks pretty good.